What's going on, guys? IC Rhythms. Welcome back to another video. And in this one, I can't believe I'm actually able to say this. I can't believe I'm putting this in the title. MLB The Show is eventually coming to other platforms. I mean, these people over here are saying that it's just other consoles. This group is saying other platforms in general. I do think at some point, Sony will definitely put this on stuff like PC and possibly mobile down the road. I don't know if this is just going to stay on consoles. This isn't just a Sony move. It's definitely something that the MLB had a big say in. This is not a game for Sony that's a huge system seller. This is not selling hundreds of thousands and definitely far from millions of consoles by any means. But I think one thing to keep in mind, aside from it's not just a Sony move, is like, think about what is actually happening here. I mean, a Sony published title from one of their more talented studios that they do get overlooked a lot. They're very underrated when you start talking about Sony studios. I think because they only make this game. If I'm not mistaken, they only make MLB The Show. They're not out making the next Last of Us or, the next big revival in something like, a huge turnaround for God of War 2018 or, games like they're not making games like that. They're not making a Ghost of Tsushima. They're not making a, infamous Second Son. They're not making those games. So it's like they're going to get ignored by a good chunk of the Sony audience that do love those third person beat 'em up, shoot 'em up, bullet damage, a little bit of gore type of games. It's just they're going to get overlooked. It's sad, but that's how it is. Now, I haven't bought or played an MLB game since maybe it feels longer than this, but maybe 2012. I mean, I feel like you're always getting a quality experience, but one thing that has plagued that game for a long time, a very long time, is just garbage netcode. Terrible. Absolutely terrible online. I mean, I can remember, even though it was fun, playing General G. Some of you may have been on YouTube when General G was around. He and I used to battle it out in MLB The Show, and we bought it back to back for a couple of years or something. I always picked the Dodgers. The Dodgers are my team, and I believe he picked Astros, if I'm not mistaken. I think at that time he was picking Astros. G jumps around with different teams in different sports, so it's hard to say. But anyway, good times, great times even. Great game, awesome gameplay, terrific animations. Definitely one of the better sports games. It's a top 3 sports game, but again, it's not selling Sony consoles. This is not a game that comes out and sells 10 to 20 million every year. That's not what's happening, and I think that's why the MLB kind of stepped in and they were like, we're gonna need some more sales from this, and we feel like you guys have done everything you can to market this game, so maybe instead we're gonna put this on other platforms. And I think that's a lot of what's happening here. But I do think, and I know that you've got stuff like Death Stranding, and then here you have MLB The Show, and I don't think it's just going to stay multiplayer games. I don't think it ends there. Do I think something like The Last of Us, and we'll talk about this in an upcoming video, The Last of Us 2 or Ghost of Tsushima or something like that will come to other platforms day and date with the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4? Absolutely not. I think what you'll see is eventually Sony will bring actual ports of some of the older titles like the original Last of Us or maybe some of the older Uncharted games to other platforms, probably starting with the PC, maybe just Xbox. Who knows? Maybe they want to give no love to the PC outside of PlayStation Now. Maybe it could stay that way. I don't know. I don't have the cards. Sony has all the cards. These are their IPs and they control them, and what they do with them is their own. But again, I think no matter how you slice this, it's a huge deal just to be able to say that MLB The Show, regardless of relevancy in terms of, comparing to other PlayStation first-party games and studios, just to be able to say that it's coming to other platforms it's a really big deal. And I wonder what Sony's mindset is now. My thing is, and it's not necessarily something that I fear because I don't plan to buy MLB The Show every year regardless, but I do wonder if this means the game will end up, just filled with all kinds of microtransactions that were never there before and other super poor business practices to try and milk all that they can from everyone on different platforms, given that it'll be no longer exclusive, and they can take advantage of that fact because the audience will become much larger and they'll be thinking, well, they don't just buy the $60 game, we can charge them for this and this and this. It happens a lot with other sports games. I don't need to name them here. We all know what they are, and I think it's a damn shame. I don't want to see that happen with MLB The Show. The thing that they need to focus on most for me is stuff that I've talked about plenty of times before. Netcode, getting the online right, making it feel somewhat like a better competitive experience when you're playing other people online in MLB The Show. That's what I want. I don't know what you guys want from MLB The Show, regardless of what platforms it's on, but that's what I want. I might consider buying it every other year if they would fix that shit, but they need to fix it first. And just to reiterate, I don't think that this ends with multiplayer only titles, but I think you'll have stuff like Killzone, which also has a multiplayer. Future Killzone titles could end up on PC and possibly Xbox or a future Nintendo platform or something. Everybody's Golf, I think that could be a very big deal on the PC, especially something like the Switch, right? I mean, Everybody's Golf on the Switch, playing a game like that on the go, I think is something people probably want. There aren't a lot of really awesome golf games, unfortunately, because for some reason I really like playing golf games if they're good. If they're fun, I like playing them. I understand the game. The only time that I watch golf is if Tiger is playing and if he's playing at a high level. So it does look like Tiger is back, and I'll watch some more golf, but not a lot more golf. So yeah, I think, titles like that, maybe if they ever resurrect Resistance and there's a multiplayer aspect to that game, I think you could see that. The Last of Us 2, see, I think eventually something like The Last of Us, the original Last of Us, will come to other platforms, specifically PC, but The Last of Us 2, I don't know, again, I don't think you're going to get stuff like that day and date on other platforms along with the PS4 and PS5, but I think it's possible that the multiplayer side of a game like that could release day and date, or maybe 6 months later after the game releases or something, give the game a chance to sell all it's going to sell on PlayStation and, whatever consoles a game like that can end up selling. Stuff like that, I think, are possibilities. I think there's a really good chance for stuff like that to happen. And we'll talk about that more later, other videos. Thank you guys for watching, all the continued support. I do appreciate it, man. You guys are great. I'm going to call it on this one. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, but I'm just going to ramble at this point. If I continue, it's just going to be a bunch of rambling. A lot of my videos are rambling, and you guys watch them anyway. I do appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Thank you very much. Take care. Peace.